I still ain't figured this stupid thing out. Welcome back to Basscast Radio, everyone. Man, what a show we have for you guys tonight. Guys, I'm still working on the audio part. Maybe one day it'll act correct. I mean, when I tell it to die, I mean for it to die, but it's slowly. Hope you guys all had a great week. Thank you again, like I said, for tuning in to tonight's episode. We got a guest. We promised you last episode we have a guest. We got Bassmaster Elite Angler Luke Palmer in with us tonight. We're going to talk about all things Bassmaster and 2025, which we all know is right around the corner. By the time this goes up, which we drop on Monday mornings, the Basscast Championship will be over, as well as the CAT 2024 Championship. So thank you all for fishing with us in 2024. You guys all know we will be moving our tournament series to the state park. And I don't know what problems you guys might have where you live, Luke, in Oklahoma, but they pretty much run us off every damn ramp in Virginia, Maryland, North Carolina. I mean, we're just getting run off all over the place because they don't like us. It is what it is. But and that's for about every tournament. But again, thank you guys all for fishing with us. Thank you for being a part of that. Guys, thank you. First of all, the basscast.com hit 25,000 Facebook subscribers, likes. Thank you for being a part of that. 25,000. Golly, just months ago, we were sitting at 18. We had a heck of a growth the last 2 months. So thank you all for being a part of that. And welcome everybody to the basscast.com Facebook page. And guys, more stuff to, more goals to hit. Also, last week's episode of Basscast Radio, if you haven't had a chance to listen, please head on over and check that out. It was good. It was great. I actually, for you guys out there, I had a phone call today, and the guy listened to the show. It's someone I know, and he appreciated the whole daggone thing. He was kind of struggling, and he just needed that extra kick in the ass. And we did that. And so that was freaking cool. He's building his own brand, his own company. And he really, really appreciated us just giving him that extra boost. And, I talk about this all the time. I'm blessed now to have a team. Go ahead, Geet.
Anytime any of you all out there need a good kick in the ass, we're your guys.
You got that right. So, I mean, I ain't going to say, guys, I'm blessed. I mean, it took 10 years to actually get a team. And I really have a team, a part of this. And I mean, we're in a niche industry. We all know that. And to have the team that I have now is like huge. I mean, it's really huge. Thomas, Bass Geek, all the writers that we have. I mean, it's freaking awesome. But it took a long time to get this. And he doesn't have a team yet. And he's still working on that part. So I wish him best of luck. I'm trying to help him a little bit, mentor him a little bit. As you guys know, I was on the Co-Angler podcast a couple weeks ago. I brought that up, and it drops. Let me look here on my mobile phone real quick. It will be dropping here on January the 11th at 7 p.m. So please head on over and check it out. The Co-Angler podcast show. It's no audio. It's all YouTube. So make sure you guys head on over and check that out. And I kind of spill my story and talk a lot about social media, building a website, the ups and downs, just like any tournament angler, the ups and downs, going through losses, everything that comes with this industry, to be honest. But I kind of hit hard on, what it's been like, the struggle, what it's been like for the last 15 years building the basscast.com. And a little while ago, we were talking about Byron Velvet and coming back to professional bass fishing or getting back into it. And guys, that's like one of the first or second anglers I interviewed back in 2008 when they came to Smith Mountain Lake. And he hadn't even made it onto the Bachelorette or Bachelor, whatever the hell it was then. I probably got it wrong, guys.
He's the Golden Bachelor now.
Now he's a Golden.
Sorry, Brian.
All right. But yeah, so I mean, it's pretty freaking cool how that's all coming back around now. I mean, because you figure he's been out of fishing for like a decade.
been a while. He went out for some pretty serious medical reasons at first,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So happy that he's recovered.
Yeah, so we welcome him back to I haven't watched it. It's on another show, and that's how I saw it. We're just paying attention to what's happening. But it's great to see the full circle on how this thing has come around. But let's drop it to Thomas first. What's been going on in your world, brother?
Not much. Just winding down the year. Only putting out 4 episodes this week, and then next week 2, and then we're gonna be done. Had a really cool conversation with this guy called Jody Queen, and I think we talked fishing 10% of the time. It's just really about Appalachian culture and how you can grow up in the mountains of West Virginia and dominate all over God's earth. So it was pretty cool.
Hey, just a little before we go to Geek, we sent Jody to the Bassmaster Classic this year. He won our Bass Nation of Virginia Kayak Championship, and that's how he qualified to go fish in the Classic. So, and Jody and his wife are awesome. And like you said, living up in the mountains they're West Virginia, right on the line, aren't they? Or they're a little bit more up into it. They're not far. They're a couple hours from us. But that's freaking awesome. So, plus, guys, if you haven't watched the Monday Night Live, I saw that's up now. That was an awesome show, dude.
Yeah, Chad is amazing.
That's fucking amazing. I ain't gonna lie. Chad is freaking. He dropped the shit. He didn't care.
Mm-hmm. No, he absolutely dropped a lot of information. My phone was blowing up the whole day. But when you've won as many local tournaments as he has, including Steve Camp's $10,000 jackpot on the James River, you can be a little cocky.
So, yes, and that was a great event. I was at that event, by the way. I got invited up for that, and hopefully they'll do that again this year. It's really cool. Luke, we had a little tournament trail, just an event. It was a town event. The town put up the money. I don't know how many anglers fished day 1. Day 2, they cut the field down to about 25. And if you qualified and had fish, you got to walk across the stage. You got to play a little intro music. Felt like a Bassmaster Elite angler. And Chad never ended up winning it. So it's pretty freaking cool that happened. And like you said, it was $10,000 what they ended up taking home.
Yeah, it was over 10 grand. It was one of the bigger purses in the area.
So, and the town put up the money.
And then you got barbecue and beer. I mean, that to me, would have been the best part about it. I mean,
you got your money.
Yeah. So they had so it was kind of highlighting the town and bringing fish into the town and notoriety, because, for us living here, I guess Lynchburg's known as the city of 7 hills, which I reminded Danielle the other day. We used to have a bicycle race game here every year called the Tour de Pont. None of you guys probably know about because you're all young as hell.
I know about that. Actually,
oh shit! Yeah. So we had the Tour de Pont come here because we're the city of 7 hills, and we have a big, running race here every year, Virginia 10 miler, which brings people from all over the world. So I mean, everybody likes running the hills here, but that was pretty cool for that town to bring a bass fishing event and notoriety to what's going on in their community. All right, I'm done. What's up with you, Geek?
Man, just the same old stuff, banging and slanging, putting out that content over on the tube of you. And, we're going to be out tomorrow filming as the temperature drops all day. We'll be fighting, ice in the guides again. And, we'll be out there probably fishing deep and, up in the mountains, hoping that the lake ain't froze up. This is one of those, like I live right on the Tennessee-Virginia border, and this lake I'm going to tomorrow, I could drive 45 minutes up there and have to turn around and go find another one. So sometimes it will freeze up a little bit because it's way up on the mountain between Kentucky and Virginia. So
I know here they're calling for snow tonight. Not for us, but like Roanoke.
Yeah, we're going to get some snow tonight.
They're calling for snow, and the temperature. Like I said, this is dropped later, but the temperature here started this morning. I woke up to 60 degrees. Wearing a short sleeve shirt and left work at 4:00 wearing 2 hoodies. So, I mean, it has dropped all freaking day long, but that's, it's Virginia and that's what you get. So
now I will say by the time this comes out, we did drop a video that has a giveaway in it. So you might want to make sure you go check that out.
But I won't tell you which one. So just Just search his whole
That's right. I'm
channel.
not going to tell you which one.
That's
Go
cool.
watch all of them.
Hey, ain't nothing wrong with
I
that.
just saying, by the time you watch this, only 3 will have come out. So pick your poison there.
It's a winter Easter egg hunt. We have a contest going up, by the way, if you guys haven't already seen it. It's just a submit your bass fish. We're giving away a $50 gift card to Discount Tackle. So submit a photo. We're going to let the peeps pick it. Whoever the winner is gets to take home $50 from Discount Tackle. You guys all know that is my only affiliate on the basscast.com is Discount Tackle. So make sure you guys check it out for the holidays. I've been sharing the link. Get a gift card today. But let's dive into this, man. Luke Palmer, welcome to the show. Thank you for taking some time out of your busy schedule and talking with us tonight. You guys don't know, Luke Palmer is a Bassmaster Elite champion back in 2023?
Somewhere in there. It seems like it's 40 years ago, but it feels good to go look at that blue trophy every night.
Hey, we always say that here. The money goes fast, but the trophy lasts forever.
Hardware is forever.
Unless you divorce your wife and she throws it out the front door. It lasts forever.
Or sells it on eBay.
There it was.
Takes your name off of it and puts it on eBay.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. All right, you guys all know the fishing world's been turned upside down here lately. I mean, there's been lots of controversy, lots of things happening. We thought the season would just end quietly this year, but that didn't happen.
No.
It did not happen at all. Holy cow. And Bass came out with a new payout, and it has a lot of anglers thinking about choices and plans for 2025, what they're going to do. I have heard this through the grapevine, and I got messages. I haven't seen the list yet, but the NPFL is going to be banger next year. Let's say this, guys. There's a lot of anglers going to the NPFL next year, and it's going to be a heck of a lineup. They haven't dropped it yet, which I wish they did, but they're probably going to wait till after this week's, which should be over by now, the weekend's event. But, man, were you floored, brother? Let's dive straight into it.
I mean, I thought it was going to be awesome when I seen no entry fee. And then the disheartening side of it hit, and that was that because, I mean, people don't realize the expenses that go along with the fishing deal. I was talking to some guys, just in general, guys I fish in, buddies. And I really think that people think that elite guys are automatically drawing 125 plus a year from sponsorships, and I wouldn't doubt if it's less than 35% out of just on the elites. I don't know about MLF, whatever, but I wouldn't doubt if it's 35 or less percent, and as much as it costs us to go, you can't be making $35,000 a year, not when you're gone from your family all the time. You don't know, but I don't know. It's tough. I mean, it's one of those deals. If you have a good year, you have a great year, but it's hopefully some things are able to change and we can get some type of payout because, as well as I do, if I drive to Florida and I come in, if I back-to-back top 40s and I win $500, that doesn't even pay for my fuel down there,
No.
And that would, I mean, yeah, it's $1,000 and our sponsors are supposed to be picking us up the rest of the way, but that's not the case for everybody. I mean, I have some outstanding sponsors and they're awesome. They're fantastic. But to have the money that I think that a lot of people think we're making is non-existent for what's going on.
Thomas, I say the brain thinking.
Luke, if you could, after digesting everything that has taken place, why do you think the decisions were made? Do you think it was for the angler's best interest or the sponsor's best interest?
I don't know. we as elite guys were all unaware that it even happened. Um, we didn't, I mean, that's the gist of it. I mean, maybe there were some guys that knew about it. I didn't. Um, really, I was thinking I'm going to fish another 2 years and I'm going to hang it up, honestly, because I'm going to spend that much time away from my family. I got a new baby boy, and I'm going to go and do it for X amount of dollars. I could move to Grand, Oklahoma, and fish Grand Lake every weekend and have a chance to make more money than I make on the elites.
Wow.
And for a hell of a lot less money and only be fishing on the weekends, theoretically.
Mhm.
I mean, I
Yeah.
go up there and win crap, but you know what I mean? For what we're putting up for it, it's frustrating. And do you know how hard it's going to be to make it to $1 million fishing bass if you come in the top 40 all the time and win $500?
Mm.
It's going to be a while.
It's gonna be a
You know,
minute.
yeah.
Is
I mean, the top's still 100,000. Yeah, we're fishing for 100 grand on no entry. Yeah, that looks badass, and it is. It is. But do you know how many badasses fish on that Elite Series?
A lot.
And go look at Kevin Van Dam, the baddest son of a gun that's ever fished. In my era, and he won what 20 times in a 33 or 35-year span.
Yeah.
I mean, that's it's tough. But I mean, it's I don't know. It's very disheartening. I mean, it was. This is something I worked for my whole life to get here, but didn't realize I was working my whole life to get here. I never expected to fish on the elites, period, until it just happened. So, I mean, it's a lifelong dream. Don't get me wrong. I love every second of it. I mean, I've got to fish the best places in the country at the best times of year to fish them. And I would have never done that if I wouldn't have fished the elites. I'd still be fishing right here at home, which would be 100% fine. But, it is kind of neat to get to go do it.
Mm.
it
It's, but
Luke,
I
is
don't
there
know.
any similarities between the 2008 really like sponsor and fishing crisis that happened with the housing collapse and now in 2025? I know a couple months ago, people were like, no, it's completely different. Everything's fine. But it's like, then Bass comes out with this. It's like, well, something's going on.
I don't know. As well as I do, the sponsorship is very diluted across the
Mhm.
board from,
Mm-hmm.
and I went and filmed some stuff a couple of weeks ago, and a guy that he used to fish the Bassmasters before it became the elites, and we were talking, and he told me the crazy deals that were going on, like a couple of boats, a couple of motors,
Mm-hmm.
you know, then a company give you 80, 100 grand like it was nothing. And I
Mhm.
mean, it was astronomical, really. I mean, and now I bet there's less than 10 guys that are giving a boat for free now, you
Yeah.
know? Uh, so, I mean, the times have just completely changed. Um, so I don't, there's supposed to not be as much money back then. There's more money now, but I just think it's so overpopulated with sponsorship dollars out there with people and stuff that it's in turn hurt the top end, the guys that are actually fishing for a living. I think the
Yeah.
dollars have been knocked back, and it's really has hurt that side of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I talk to guys all the time that are, and it's just you almost turn into a broken record about it.
Mm-hmm.
But you're still for a living, regardless. It's no different if I'd have stayed in a hardware store, which would have been perfectly fine and never fished the elites. That'd have been my choice. And this was a blessing, to get to go do this. To have a platform to talk about things with people, and like you were talking earlier, your podcast helped that guy kind of get a little bit of lift in him, get him some hope. And that's kind of what I look forward in life to try to give someone that didn't have it going to say, hey, Luke did it from a town of 3,000 people. Why can't I? Along those lines.
So has there been any communication since then with any of the anglers? Do you think Bass maybe thought, hey, this is good, but maybe the execution just wasn't quite as good as they thought it was going to be? And have they talked about maybe, because I mean, even coming in with, I mean, do you think it would help coming in with lower entry fees and you know to help the payout end of it? I mean,
I'm sure their phones rang off the hook whenever that was announced. I would have hate to have been their phones. There has been, but waiting on to see what happens. That's about all there is on it.
Did you attend the meeting? I had heard through the grapevine there was going to be an angler meeting, anglers only meeting. Were you a part of that?
Not that I've heard of yet. No one's called me on it yet.
Okay.
So I'm kind of anxious to see. We used to have one. The 1st of December, we'd all pile up and we'd go to Birmingham. They'd put us up for 2 days, and we'd go in there and talk for 5 hours. Then we'd all go home. Or 6 or whatever
Do
it
you
was.
really think that Bass has gotten to the point now where they believe their brand's big enough now with what the talent that the Bass has and the platform that they've built, that it's pretty much like, if you want to fish, you want to fish. It's up to you.
Was it too big
This
to
is what
fail?
we're doing.
Is what they call it
What's that?
in corporate America? Is that what they call it? Too big to fail?
Yeah, too big to fail. Yeah.
maybe they believe that.
Maybe they believe it. I mean, it's been under new ownership, and no one likes the new ownership. We've heard that a lot too. So I mean,
I don't have any beef with any of them. They've all been nice to me. They've been good to me. They haven't cut me any. The entry fee deal was something I wish was brought up to the anglers first before we done it and announced it. That would have been my only wish toward it. I was the business owner at one time too, up till a year ago. Actually, I've had 2 or 3 businesses, and your boss is your boss. I was a 19-year-old, over 5 or 6 other people. And not everybody's going to be happy, but you have to make a decision. I mean, is it good to talk it over with some of your employees when you're going to make a big decision like that? Yes, but overall, it is still your decision. If you're the owner. But I would have liked to have had conversation beforehand.
Luke,
To
what
see what was
businesses
going.
did you own?
What's that?
What businesses did you own?
My family had a hardware store since the 40s. I had lawn service. Hell, if it involved making money, I was just about done. Cutting wood, cleaning gutters, you name it, I did it just so I could go fishing. That was, I still do. I'm still cut wood, and I enjoy working, period. But off season, it's not, like I said, the deals are not as good as they used to be. So every dollar I make counts.
Let's get back to that, Luke. What you just said right there, saying about you like working and the side jobs and the hustle. Do you think Bass is trying to take it back to that? Because I mean, we were talking last week on the show about they did that Legend series and it came out with Fox, and it had all the past elite winners and big names, and and if you watch that, it was really, he worked 9 to 5 and he got off 3 days and went fish the tournament. I mean, it was not that they were trying to make a career out of this. Everybody still had their own career, whether they ran a business or cut wood or worked for mom and dad, and dad said, you can have your 3 days off to go fish. I mean, do you think we're going back to that, the beginning of where Bass really started?
I don't think we could go back to that.
Okay.
Just because it's too much to go now. Back then, and that was way before my time, but I remember whenever me and my dad were going in the early, it had been 2004, 2005. and gas hit $2 a gallon, and we're like, how in the hell are we going to go to the lake now?
Mhm.
And now
Yeah.
we're seeing $2 a gallon, we're jumping with joy. But your dollar, it doesn't go near as far right now.
Nope.
When you hook up to that boat and truck and you head to the lake, it's $100 bill every time you go. Gas, food, whatever. That's just like almost the bare minimum anymore.
Yeah.
And be $25, to go. And but wages have went up and all that too. But it's just it was a tough way to make a living back then. It's still a tough way to make a living now. And there's y'all guys were talking about highs and lows, and gosh damn, this is now
Yeah.
if you don't get a check in a tournament, you're losing 8-9 grand a tournament,
Yeah.
when it was 5,000 to get in. Especially when you're traveling, me drive to New York, it's 24 hours. Well, you know how many
Yeah.
times you got to stop in 24 hours fuel? And then you get up there and it's $4 a gallon. It's just, it's expensive. It's tough. Do I love it? Yes. But, it's, you gotta understand and not live above your means too much, or try to, that's why you living out of their trucks, and
Yeah.
it's a tough professional sport,
Yeah.
I mean,
I had I
gone.
had back I had Kevin Hawk here at the house, and he won Forest Wood Cup years ago, and he stayed here and he showed me the bed. It was in the back of the truck, and he had just won a Forest Wood Cup.
Yeah.
I mean, he held the trophy. I mean, and was still sleeping in the bed. It was a brand new truck. Thank God for that. They bought him a new truck, but he was still sleeping in that truck.
So,
Oh yeah.
one of the things that I've not really heard anybody talk about this, but have you heard any other anglers or even experienced this yourself? I know, when you come to talk to sponsorships, one of the things I know some guys talk about how, covering costs. That's one of the things you present to a sponsor is, hey, it takes this much. And, you know, because some of the sponsors know that now there's not an entry fee, are you guys worried that
Mm.
sponsors are going to cut even more dollars off because it's like, hey, you're not paying this, 20,000, 25,000, or whatever it is, 35,000 in entry fees. So why do you need this much money still?
Knock on wood. I'm gonna let this guy get by in his
I'll
truck
be
with the
listening.
tractor.
I'll knock on wood for you.
But I've been very fortunate. The ones that have been with me, they're all fishing related. They know what it takes to go, and all of them are pretty much avid fishermen themselves. Uh, so they've all been really good. I haven't had any issues with that. No one's, but hell, by the time they announced all that, a lot of us had already had our deals done.
Yeah.
So that kind of helped a little bit, probably.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I haven't really, I haven't really talked to anybody that said anything different about their sponsors. So as of
Good.
now, everything's okay. So
Well,
we'll see
good.
what can happen. I know
It's
I got
probably going to
a buddy.
trickle over into next year.
Yeah, Geek. If I had to put my CEO hat on, this is really to gear up for 2026. Is any kind of deals that have to get resettled for then? It gives them a leeway to do that for Q1.
Yeah, it's gonna be. I don't know. It's gonna be really really interesting. I mean, like you said, at MPFL, I talked to several guys that have really thought hard about it. To go over there. One of them deals too. If I had the sponsorship dollars to be able to do it and travel and do that extra 4 or 5 tournaments a year, I'd probably think about doing it too. Just because there's another avenue for money.
Hmm.
I'm looking at maybe I'm going to do some guiding. I've got to make up the difference
Yeah.
of money wise. I've got to make X amount of dollars a year to provide for my family, and if I'm not providing for my family, then I'm not going to make them suffer. That's just my outlook on it. It's a dream to get to do this. Um, but if that's not my calling in life, then it's just not my calling. There's something else that I'm supposed to be doing in my life. but I hope it is to keep fishing though.
That's awesome. Yeah, you don't want to be, maxing out credit cards just to go fishing. And we've heard that story way too many times
Oh yeah.
of people, refinancing houses to chase this dream of that trophy. And I'm not saying it's not worth it. I'm not saying all, but Luke's still a young man, but we still, we got probably last year was one of the best young rookie class seasons ever, coming off of the Opens. And it was different for them. And it's, fishing wise, as well as just lifestyle wise, it was different for them. And plus the new kids now, we've talked about as well, treat this as a business. And this is all they do is bass fish 24/7. They got no wife. They might have a girlfriend, mom and dad, and that's it. I mean, there's nothing else. And I mean, if you look down that whole entire list, there might have been one that was married, maybe. And the rest of them were all just single guys chasing the dream. And you kind of wonder if that's a path that we're heading.
But also to piggyback on that doesn't mean it's sustainable. Like, I
That's
remember
true.
when I was out of college, it's like, oh, this job's paying me $30,000 a year. Like, dude, I'm rich. And then you get a wife, and then you get some kids. And you're like,
Yeah.
oh,
And that's
shit.
all coming for those guys eventually.
Yeah, and it doesn't mean that their contracts will increase if that's going to be the plan from the business side of things.
Yeah,
Because the payouts sure haven't increased over the past 10 years.
Yeah.
But I guess where I was going with that whole part of it is, is this, you look in this thing where they go put 5 years in and just be done. You're not going to get them Rick Cluns, and you're not going to have the Kevin Van Dams and all the people that make this 20, 25 year run, 30-year run. It's going to be maybe like 5 years and it's over. And you better work your ass off the whole 5 years.
Yeah. Yeah. Cause I mean, which I think what's changed since, I'm 34, I guess, kind of my age group through there. I'm just using an example. It seems like we came out of a different era.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, even though there's 10 years difference between, or even, right in through there, that there wasn't any guys that were just straight fishing. I mean, there was a few, I mean, I'm not saying everybody, but there was a lot of them still working all through high school, working all through their college, and never had the opportunity to even go do it. They didn't have the funding, didn't have the money to do it. And a lot of these are coming out of high school now they've traveled to more states than I've even traveled now and fished. When I was growing up, I mowed 25 to 30 yards a week, played baseball, and fished on the weekends because that was the only chance I had to. Even during the summer, I still worked at the hardware store and mowed grass to be able to go fishing on the weekends. I actually think that to me was better off because I appreciated it. Hell, I can promise you that when I finally won, it was like finally the not going out on Thursday and Friday and Saturday nights with my friends and mowing grass to block and getting up at 4 o'clock in the morning after only sleeping 3 or 4 hours to go fishing on the weekends. It finally played in the hand, and I think, that's just that dream that became my reality for once. I mean, it was a complete blessing when something like that happens in general period. So it's that appreciation of the hard work. I mean, don't get me wrong, fishing all the time's hard, but when you have to sacrifice everything else in your life to do that, that's whenever it, that's to me whenever it really hits home and it really makes it worth it.
Yeah. Guys, I found a saying, and I've had it for probably the last 13 years up on at work, and it's just says commitment. Break it up down. You'll decide your commitment by your level of commitment, how hard you're willing to work, how many hours you're willing to endure, how many hours you're willing to stay up, and how many miles you're willing to travel. And that's what it says. And I read it every single day. And yeah, I gave up a whole lot. I mean, I want to go back and throw out the Gary Vee thing when he starts talking about working in his dad's bar, his wine store all year. But I told the guys, I mean, I grew up in a bar. I was changing bed linens at 11 years old, and I worked there till I was the 20s, and then I worked 2 jobs because I got married, and I got out of the marriage thing, and then I started this thing, and I gave up a whole lot. I mean, I didn't go nowhere. I didn't do shit. There you go. I mean, that's pretty much it. Basscast.com, babe.
Inspirational.
What? So what do we do? What's the fix for professional bass fishing? Where do we go from here? Where do we bring it in?
Let's solve it tonight, boys.
I mean, come on. I mean, there's got to be.
We don't have enough beer
out there.
Yeah.
Have to call somebody who's a billionaire and say, "Hey, here's tax write-off. Here. Do you want to fund every single?"
But is it just marketing? I mean, does it come down to, the old saying about a product is that the best product doesn't always win, but the best marketing does. And is there just a better way that we can market this sport? I know we've had Greg Hackney on. We talked about this a lot. I do YouTube, and I can see that most of the people tend to watch my videos Monday through Thursday because, we're outdoorsmen. What are we doing on Friday? We're either fishing or getting ready to go fish. What are we doing on Saturday? We're fishing. What are we doing on Sunday? We're either in church or we're fishing. So we're either going fishing, then going to church, or going to church, then going fishing, So,
yeah.
What is it, that you think that we could, or that, the industry could do better? And I think that's one of the things is not go, fully with the traditional just weekend sports, right? Maybe go a little more with a basketball, baseball schedule, or a hybrid where, we're fishing till Saturday, or we're fishing, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I mean, you're there for the entire week worth of practice anyway. Why does it matter what days the week start? And then, I don't know, it feels like to me, like there's a lot of, there was FLW did a episode, a couple, 2-3 seasons, and it blew up for them. What was it? The cast or whatever, they started out following around one of the younger guys.
Yes.
Really did it well.
Mm-hmm. The circuit breaker,
which was incredible. Why not? How can you? I still feel like maybe the professional series don't understand social media fully.
Well, no one understands
and how much power it has.
Yeah. Sitting on the board for a startup app company, and they got people that they'll bring as contractors, and we've talked about this before, and they're from Hollywood. Like when they're like, well, this is how we do it. It's like, dude, what you did, you're a dinosaur. That is not how people think right now. Yeah. It's not how it is. They're the same people in Major League Fishing, Bass, and probably the NPFL, and you probably dealt with them about like, try to act like this when you're on camera. It's like, what the hell are you talking about? This is not the 1950s. I am this. I have a social media presence. This is just who I am on camera. And they have this backwards way of thinking. But I think that's half the issue. The other half of it is no one likes to talk about it. Go to the grocery store. How much does that cost? How much does it cost to put gas in your car? Luke hit on that. It's expensive as shit.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
you're seeking a new marketplace when you're losing the people already there because they can't afford to do it. I think if gas prices drop a lot in the next year or two, we will really see if there's going to be another bounce back like we saw around 2010, 2011.
And you don't have to. And really, the worst thing that you can do is these. I mean, listen, Circuit Breaker was beautiful,
really,
but I really think if you do some basic, go out and follow a couple. I mean, look, I know the NFL's got plenty, but if you haven't seen the Hard Knocks from this year where they're following all 4 teams.
Oh, yeah.
It's incredible what they're doing. You're getting
the budgeting difference between Bass and the NFL. Hold on.
Yeah, there's that.
Well, I know. But what I'm saying is, as somebody who's been doing YouTube for, 8 years and, listen, man, I'll promise you, I could take 4 cell phones, 4 GoPros, and edit in a week something that would be halfway decent and probably do 3 times as well as anything they're putting out right now.
I think you answered your own question.
I don't understand it. How?
But
I mean,
I don't want to cut you off, but I think what Bassmaster and them have kind of left it up to, and it's just like, it's not like every sport, because bass is totally different than any sport out there. And we had a elite angler, he made his presence known early in the year about, you're in charge of your own life, you're in charge of your own social media, you're in charge of your own promotion, you're in charge of promoting your brand, and if you can't do it, that's not our fault.
But that's what kills me about that. I think that's such an ignorant way to look at it, because you're going to grow your sport by making connections to the people that are the products. I mean, your anglers are the damn products. How
they're
can
too
you
big to fail, geek?
They're
too big to fail. Period. That's it. Too big. They got too big a presence. Too known. You guys, if you saw the press release, I just popped up yesterday. Major League Fishing axed their magazine. I think they're going to maybe do a little bit of digital, but other than that, they've gotten rid of that. But Bass has gotten where their platform is big enough. They got the Fox contract. They added more tournaments to the Fox contract last year with the Opens, where they're doing like the final day.
Yep.
My thing, and we've talked about this on the show, is this Fox contract. We don't know what it's worth, but it would be great if they could trickle that down to the anglers. And we brought that up a bunch. How some of this money that they have made and brought in, it don't take that many. We've seen the NPFL run with
think they did by taking the entry fees out.
Yeah. Well, we've seen what the NPFL's been able to do with 10 people.
Yeah.
Why the hell we need this many damn people?
I mean, that's why I think the consolidation is interesting. Every league is doing it, whether depending on where your allegiance lies, whether you're pro Boyd against Boyd, pro Bassmaster against Bassmaster. I think the smaller fields are interesting. I think it's like, how are you going to utilize them? Are you utilizing them to go to the same places you always go, or are you utilizing the small field to go to lakes that no one's ever been to before? Or are you going to take the MPFL approach and you're just going to do what everyone asked FLW and Bassmaster to do 1,000 years ago, which is just please talk and not overlap your damn tournaments so we could fish them? And the MPFL's like, oh, you want a chicken sandwich? How about we just give you what you want? There's a freaking shock. And they did it. And it seems like, generally speaking, they're hitting home runs left and right.
Yeah. And, I think the great thing about the smaller field is that you have more people that you can promote as a company, more FaceTime. You're able to get to build that connection and build that those fans or those fan groups around each one of those anglers.
And we all know that got lost in Major League Fishing, and we all know that.
Yeah.
And I mean, go ahead, Luke. We're going to talk for an hour and leave Luke just sitting there.
When I got on the league, there were 75 or 80 guys. And every person got one day of a camera, regardless if you caught them or not. You got a camera one day throughout the entire year. It didn't matter if you come in dead last and fly or what, with 80 guys. And then we bumped it to 100. I mean, to me, it was 80. That's perfect. Then you take the top 40, each tournament for your, get a check. Everybody was getting paid. Our entry fees were actually less then, because if you paid up front, your $45,000, you got like a $3,000 or $5,000, knockoff for paying your money up front. So we were actually paying less money then. And, there was a lot. I felt when we went to 100 was a mistake. Our tournaments went by a lot faster. Our weigh-ins were a lot faster. You take 20 guys off, that's 30 minutes. And Mercer is the man behind the mic. I love him to death. And he's, by the time he's having to work through all these guys, hell, I'd be give out. I get give out just watching.
Yeah.
So to me, it was if we was still at 80 guys, it would be tremendously different. Not only, I mean, in general for us, period, it makes it more elitist. To be the less there is, the more elite that it is.
That's true.
And
And
so
like
many
you said, it would have been so much more presentable for us as anglers to be at that smaller group. Because we get more time. It's just part of it.
everything's a timing deal. If you look at like ESPN, I think was sold in like 2010, and then 5 years later, live happens. It just missed. And I think if that timed up better, probably ESPN doesn't sell bass and the money's there.
Yeah.
If you look at the internet connection and being able to stream, and then I don't think we truly appreciate whatever people think of them, what this Starlink will do, where if everyone can afford internet, one thing that I really think helped Carl Jacobson when he was trying to fight to get back on the elites is he was one of the first guys that literally was like, what if I just start live streaming my own events? And I just do it myself. And we're getting to the point with what Fluke Master does, Geek, what I'm going to do next year. You can set up cameras in your boat and just turn them on during an event, and just you're live with your audience. You are your own camera. What will that be in 5, 6, 7 years? And it's going to be a crazy new world. Why would you want to fish a team event? Just go out in a solo event, turn the cameras on, build your brand.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to get you guys and figure out.
I'm so bad at tournament fishing though, it hurts my brand most of the time. So
On it being so expensive, like you see some of the biggest YouTube guys are these kids walking around a pond that are just throwing a spinnerbait for the time, pretty much. And there's nothing wrong with that. I was that kid. I just think, back when we were growing up, all of us, gosh damn, we ate and breathed watching Bassmaster when it came on TV or getting the magazine, read it.
Yep.
Like, I mean, we aspired to be like the Rick Cluns or Van Dam or Brower, hell, even like me, Jason Christie. That was a big one when I was growing up. And I knew him. And, but that's kind of, it's like the best one I've ever had. You guys might laugh at this. I was going to a boat show in Texas, and one of the sales reps, I know him real well. He's like, hey, I'm going to get my nephew to come or something, cousin, whatever. This kid's, 10, 11, 12, 13 years old. And he goes, well, who's going to be there? And he's like, Luke Palmer, Greg Hackney, Aaron Martins, like naming off all these guys like he was pumped up. The kid's like, are any of the Guggen Squad guys going to be there?
Yeah.
I was like,
but
never
that's even a great idea. Like I just had a flash right now. Bassmaster, take this. I promise it will help you more than anything you're doing right now. Imagine just taking 4 guys, 4 elites out and just doing a quick video of 4 guys on a pond somewhere where you're all fishing. For the guys who don't make the last day cut or something, take them out, stick them all on a pond and say, we're going to do a video. You guys are going to compete together on this pond because it relates to those young kids. It relates to those guys. I don't remember when it was, but I remember seeing I
like that though.
A survey where, they ask, and they narrowed it down to bass anglers. But I mean, it was like extremely high, like 85% of guys who consider themselves bass anglers don't have boats. That's huge. That's a huge audience. I can tell you right now through polls of my YouTube channel, only 33% of my audience are hardcore tournament, followers. That means 66%. Is the 66% that bass isn't reaching. What do you do to get that in? And I think it's just doing stuff on social media like that,
But we've heard it. But we've hurt the industry just like we did for NASCAR. I mean, when my dad was in NASCAR back in the 70s, I mean, you could slap a sponsor on the back and $1,000 worth of tires, and you go to the race. If you ain't got $1 million and 12 forward-facing sonar modulars that are 45 inches each, you ain't gonna cash a check. And what we've done is we've put that, that we've put that out there to be like, if you ain't got
The
oh
GDP
man,
of
you're
Nigeria.
shunned upon. If your boat ain't like sparkling blue, you're shunned upon. And I've been doing this now 15 years, and guys in aluminum boats whipping people's ass around here left and right. I mean, because they put the time in and they did with the work. But we've kind of put this persona around this whole entire globe, and it's not really it hasn't helped the industry at all.
Well, I understand you want to sell the lifestyle, but not at the detriment of
Yes, and that's where we're at.
abandoning the masses. You
But
know,
this has been the business decision. You see this in like the truck industry. Like go out and try to buy just a plain Ford, Ram, whatever your thing is. They don't make a plain truck anymore. Now it has so much crap and computer screens in it. It costs $100,000 for a truck. Why? This is somebody in a room said it's better to have this model, this tip of the spear. And you see this in every industry, everywhere. We're only going to cater to the 1%.
I do like my backup camera, by the way, everyone, because I hate backing up. But that's beside the point. You can take the rest of the crap.
It don't
out.
help you when you're backing a boat up, though. At least mine don't. Listen, I will say this: I just bought a new truck last year. It's got all the bells and whistles. It took me like 3 weeks to be able to focus on the road again because it's way too distracting.
Do you think the engines are as good as they used to be?
No.
Yeah.
Those boosters are not good.
Yeah, there's some turbos and stuff.
Nothing
turbos.
as it used to be.
My first car was a Dodge Daytona Turbo Z from 1989 is when that car came out. And I loved it. It was a great car. Thing flew. You actually had to, you couldn't just raise the sunroof. You actually had to get out and pop it out and put it in a bag. It came with your car. And you put the sunroof in there and go back ways. But guys, we know the industry is changing. We know things are, it's going to be an interesting 2025. We already know that. And, I'm excited to see how it really shakes out. Who's going to be at the end of 2025? Like Luke was talking about, a lot of people already wrapped up their deals for 2025. Everybody's signed a contract they have or haven't or backed out or whatever. We've heard a couple anglers have backed out, but we'll see what the end of 2025 looks like. I want to wrap it up on my part, and then we'll just go around the room. 2025 is going to be the year of diversification. And we learned that during COVID, and COVID taught us a lot about that. We couldn't have a tournament. Everybody started a damn podcast show. I was blessed. I'd already had a podcast show. But, everybody started this and started that and started this. Everybody's out of it now, and everybody's selling their boat now. But, I mean, it's going to be the year of diversification if you really want to stay a lead angler, Major League Fishing, NPFL, whatever it is you want to fish. You're going to have to diversify. And if you're not willing to diversify, 26 is going to be sayonara. Anybody's geek? You got anything else?
I don't know. My only thing is, Bassmaster, call me up. I'll fix you.
But Bass is run by business people now. It's not run by anglers anymore.
Yeah.
That is very
They're
true.
led by cult leaders.
They are they had the most money they won and they bought it. I mean, it was a product that was available. They thought it'd be good to add to their portfolio.
ESPN was offloading it like a bad date, and that's the thing is
they got a great deal.
They did, and I'm telling you, if ESPN held for it for a couple more years when the live stream kicked in, I think they would have reinvested. I think again, Wall Street was so pissed that they missed the NASCAR bubble. That's why they really went into Bass, but it was we were just a little too early, I think, and it sucks because what they're doing now with all of them. All three big organizations with streaming is insane. We get so spoiled. Like we didn't have this when we were kids. I remember when they were running VHS tapes when they're doing like the Battle of Three Rivers up in Pittsburgh. And now we just turn on a damn TV and we can see it. And it's just crazy where we are, but it was just at the wrong time. And now we do have a recession or inflation or whatever the hell you want to call it. And these next 2 years to me is just the great reset. We have to rebalance. It went up way too high with everything, and we got to find some kind of balance point again.
And I think again, for me, I think it really comes down to, bass fishing, probably like no other sport, really lends itself to social media. Simply because you're you're a 3-4 day long event for 8 hours. And you need to do things. Let's face it, guys. How many times would you like to be sitting on the back of a boat watching a guy fish? I don't like it. You know, I mean, so there's definitely better ways to sell it.
Yeah, there's better ways to sell it. Yeah. Well, Luke.
Yeah, that would be rough. Those marshals talk all the time. They're like, "Gosh, damn it, this is," especially when it's and you're like, "I haven't caught fish in 4 hours," and they're back there contemplating life, like, like get some of those. But yeah, that would suck. But I'm kind of with you. There's got to be a happy medium that something's got to happen eventually. You know, I don't know. I can't put my finger on what it is. You know, our market has got so. I just keep going back to it's got so diluted. There's so many people in it now. Mm-hmm. With COVID happening and all that, everybody went fishing again. I don't know what's gonna. There's got to be some type of change for the professionalism of it at the top end, because if not, I mean, it's the sponsor. Like we said, we all keep talking about the sponsorship dollars are down, and they're like, "Well, it's out there to get." Well, I don't know where in the hell to get it at. But
we talk about that too. It's not that, but you got one company just in the last 2 years has bought 10 companies.
Yes.
I mean, you know, and that's what's big, because like you were talking about with ESPN unloading Bassmaster, they're getting crap cheap. It ain't crap, but they get, you know what I'm saying, they get a business cheap.
There's really only four. There's at this point, there's 4 megacorps that pretty much own everything.
But you know what I'm saying, you know, I'm buying 4 worm companies. Why am I buying 4 worm companies? Because when I send it to China, instead of paying 50 cents a worm, they're going to give me a discount down to 25 cents a worm because I got 4 worm companies. And that's why they're doing it. And it don't matter if they don't sell all of them because they'll write off the loss.
It's not fishing related, but it is an interesting thing that we're going to think about for the next 20 years is this monopolization of everything. Every industry, whether it's fishing or non-fishery, there's this massive, like behind the scenes, whether it's BlackRock buying all the houses or the business I work for getting gobbled up by another one. It's happening and no one talks about it. And that cuts jobs. It just does. And it's being really felt right now in the fishing industry.
We're in a cycle.
Listen, I've worked in IT, and one of my very first jobs was working for smaller companies, you know, break fix sort of thing. And I said it even back then, until the American public understand that those companies are draining you, hurting you, killing you, and we don't get back to buying local, buying from the small guy, supporting Main Street, not Wall Street, we're in for a long, rough road.
Great way to wrap it up, man.
Oh, that's depressing. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Wow.
Thank you.
No, but it's true. You guys hear me here all the time. You guys all know I'm sponsored by SML Tackle Check, and I'll tell you guys straight up. And we talked about, I can't remember, I talked about something. Guys, you know, you're going to need that special bait. That big bass tournament coming to Smith Mountain Lake, and you're gonna need that special bait, but you were willing to keep going to Tackle Discount, Tackle Warehouse, Discount Tackle, or any of the other major brands. And so SML closed, and you needed that bait, and you ain't gonna get your bait from, I can already tell you, I've ever heard the news, not news, but you know, I heard, you know, Discount, what is it, Tackle Warehouse. So many tackles. They've been kind of slow shipping stuff, so that means you're not gonna get that special bait because SML Tackle Shack closed up. So support local, man. I mean, 110%, guys. You might pay an extra 25 cents more, but when you need it, they're going to have it. And that's where the money is going to be on the line. Merry Christmas.
For sure. Yeah.
All right. Luke, you got any sponsors, by the way, you want to shout out?
You know, I can't. My buddies from Amped Outdoors, the lithium company, they've been damn good to me, and they're a damn good company and damn good people. You still talk to somebody when you call them.
Nice.
You know, that's one of them deals. And War Eagle, Spinnerbait, Custom Brand, which you got Booyah, Yum, all those guys there. They've been with me. And Falcon Rods, being here from Oklahoma, they've always been right there. I've been with them for probably 30 years now. That's one of my first rods I ever got. Little, and we actually sold their rods in our hardware store. Might have been so me and Dad could get the discount on the. Might have been the main thing. But, those people, have really stepped up and taken care of me. It's I've got a really good core group of people that I work with, and they've been with me pretty much my entire career. So
cool.
Hopefully keep them happy and keep them around, and get a few more dollars and get to keep fishing for a few more years.
All right, guys, you heard it right here. Luke, man, thank you so much for coming on. Appreciate you being a part of the show tonight, talking about 2025, the elites. And guys, it's going to be a conversation that's going to continue into the beginning of the year. And, it's going to be a lot of talk, chatter, and we'll see how everything kind of pans out after the first couple events. And we might see that medical leave be taken, even though they're not sick. They might just hit the road and just can't, they can't do it no damn more. I mean, it's just going to be one of them things. And hopefully we don't see that. But I have a feeling we might see some of that in 2025. So let's cross our fingers. It's a great year. Luke, let's hope you hold another trophy in 2025.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be freaking awesome. So, guys, appreciate you listening. Appreciate you watching on YouTube. As always, make sure you hit the subscribe button. Please give us a comment, a like, a text, call, whatever you want to do. We hope we, change your life, or hope we help you by putting on the show each and every week. So thank you. And we'll see you all again next week right here on Bass Cast Radio.